Hey, parish family and friends, Father Kennell here. And we're going to be doing this from time to time, providing these little video updates, maybe to go deeper on some things that we've talked about in the bulletin, or maybe to address things that we haven't talked about at all, and maybe we're getting questions about. So just an opportunity to share with you a little bit more. First of all, Habemus Papam, what a great joy to have a new Pope, Pope Leo XIV, an American. So very surprising, I think, probably to everybody that an American has been elected. But we know he's a man of great sort of international renown. Let's pray for him, that he would be a good, holy, faithful father for the entire church. I believe he will be. So on to the present matters here. Last weekend we had the Liturgical Ministries Fair. We had a great turnout for that. We had signups for all of the liturgical ministries. I noticed we especially had quite a few for the Extraordinary Ministers of Holy Communion, which I was grateful for. So thank you for signing up for that. One liturgical ministry that I want to address here today, just because we've gotten some questions about this related to a decision that I made, and that is with our altar servers. And so the altar serving program that we've really are starting to kick up and promote, I made the decision to keep it male only. And reasons for this really are that I want to promote priestly vocations. Sometimes I've gotten the question as a priest, like, what do you think we need to do to get more priests? Shouldn't they get married, or just these different things? And, we can have whole conversations and debates about this stuff. But one, I think, very practical way that we can promote vocations at even the parish level is by really inviting young men to serve at the altar. This has traditionally been a track for men to begin to think about and to consider and to discern whether they might have a calling to the priesthood. It's just a very natural on-ramp. What do I do as a priest? What do people think of when they think of priest? Like, oh, it's that guy that's kind of dressed in the vestments and celebrates Mass, works one day a week, right? But we're celebrating Mass every day, and that is a major part of what we do to offer the Holy Sacrifice. And of course, the priesthood is male only, and so for a long time, the service at the altar by boys, by young men, was always seen as an extension. I believe I could say it that way, as like an extension of the priesthood. And when very often priests would serve other priests Mass, but when it came to a point where you just kind of needed more, young boys could potentially fill the role of a priest, so let's have them serve at the altar. And that's really, I believe, where all of that began. So there's been a long tradition of that. Even some recent studies have shown that men who are entering the seminary, many priests today, cite altar serving as a major part of their early discernment and attraction to the priesthood. I'm forgetting a recent stat that I saw, but I believe it was like well over, I think, 60% or something. And I might be mixing up my stats with other things, but there is clearly a direct link between service at the altar and consideration of the priesthood and actually entering the seminary. It's probably the largest link that we see across the board. And so that's something here that we really want to focus on the young men, get them, and it's a whole formation that we want to establish with the altar server program. Get these young men engaged, not just performing a function at the altar, but teaching them how to strive for excellence, even like in the nitty-gritty stuff of like how to be more organized with the vestments that they wear, but it's certainly handling the sacred objects, being careful. We know young boys are very often not as good as this stuff as, young girls, quite frankly. And so we want to be able to promote them, to be able to help them to gain these gifts, these habits, if you will, all these things. So I could talk on and on. We see the fruit of this too. There are places that have established this, parishes and even whole dioceses in the United States that have male-only altar-serving programs. One very clear example is the Diocese of Lincoln in Nebraska, which has actually never, since 94, when it was first opened up, has never had female altar servers. And they have consistently had the largest number of seminarians every year. So I don't know, it's like, well, what's that about? Also this is like keeping in line with our parish down the road here. St. Dominic has instituted, as of a couple of years ago, male-only altar server program. So it keeps us kind of together in that way too. And that was their desire as well, to really promote priestly vocations. And wouldn't you know, we have had some vocations recently coming out of Panama City. Our own Joseph Elmore, here out of St. John the Evangelist, now finishing up his first year of seminary. We had Chase Wood, who is discerning religious life. Also John Pandulo. Especially Vigil Mass goers might have remembered them serving a lot on Saturday evenings. And now we have these 3 young men who are all pursuing religious priestly vocations. So that's really the goal. Certainly the last thing I want to be is like unnecessarily controversial or something, or make a decision that like hurts people, or that is exclusive. But the whole goal is to build up these young men, to really have them consider what their lives could be in service to the church as priests one day. And so please God, this will bear great fruit, as it seems like it already is beginning to do. So God bless you. Please feel free to reach out if you do have further questions about that, and I'd be happy to talk more. Please pray for me. Know that I'm praying for you. Peace.